What is up, guys? FallenRedZeo here. And so we just got back from seeing Captain Mar-Vell here on the Friday of its release, I guess you could say. So this is going to be our review of it. Probably, again, I always say it, but I'm not going to go into too much detail. This will be spoiler. We won't be doing spoiler-free or anything like that anymore. So this will be spoilers, so if you don't want to know what happens or anything in the movie, go ahead and shut the video off now. But we'll be just going probably just straight into spoilers and everything. So let's go ahead and get into it. So let's just, I guess, start off with overall thoughts on the movie, I guess thoughts. I thought it was really good, a lot better than I was expecting. Like really good or better than I was expecting. Like I was quite surprised. And I would, of course, it's so early since it's just fresh in my mind and everything. But like after the, during and after the movie, I just felt so good about it. I was just like, it's probably one of the best Marvel movies in my opinion. Like I said, I obviously like a whole lot of different Marvel movies. I would probably say for me, Avengers Infinity War is the best one, which is probably not surprising, at least to most people. That should be it because it's such a good movie. But that's probably my top, and this would have to be probably like, 2 or 3 behind that right now. Like I thought it was really good. It's a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy. To me, it was pretty much just Guardians of the Galaxy, but set obviously different time, different characters and stuff. Has some of the same characters, but it just took a lot of that same stuff that they did in Guardians and then put it into this movie with obviously different characters, as I mentioned. So we'll do ratings, but first, what was your opinion, bro?
I really liked it. I thought it was up there with Ant-Man and Guardian of the Galaxy, which are 2 of my favorites.
Those are his favorites.
Just because they were the biggest risk for Marvel to go with. A lot of people don't know the characters, so...
Which Captain Marvel, I would say, probably fits in well with that, too. I mean, she's a known character, at least for someone like me, who I know comic book characters, know a little bit about, like all the bigger people. I know who Captain Marvel is. I don't know a whole lot about her, so that's why I may have issues with this review and stuff, talking about, the comic version and stuff. Like, I know who Captain Marvel is. I know about the original Captain Marvel, the man, Captain Mar-Vell, and, transfer powers and stuff, and her being Miss Marvel in the past and everything. But pretty much beyond that, I don't know much of anything about her, like her powers and stuff, so we got to see some of that in the movie. So I guess we'll go ahead and do ratings real quick. So for me, I'd have to say rating would probably have to be... I was trying to think of this. I'll probably have to go with an 8. I feel that's a little too high, but then with how I rate other stuff, I feel that's probably where I'd have to put it, because it's obviously not the best movie. I'll never probably rate anything a 10 unless it's just some absolutely amazing movie. But so I'd have to go with probably an 8 for me. What would you probably say?
Probably the normal, a 9.
Oh yeah, because you're always high numbers for everything. So that's our rating. So let's go ahead and get into the movie. So I really enjoyed this because, like I said, I don't know the entire backstory or anything about Captain Marvel, but some of the stuff I knew they took and threw in here, and then they connected a lot of the other movies and stuff, because obviously this is set in the 90s, so this takes place before, pretty much all of our movies we've gotten so far, except for Captain America, like the first, or pretty much whole first half of the movie till the very end there. So this brought in some connections there that I like that they did. There was a funny connection that we'll talk about, obviously, but I like how they brought all this stuff together, and then, like I said, put some twist on it from the backstory of Captain Marvel and everything, and made it into this movie. So, I guess we'll kind of run through, again, I'm not going to remember everything. So we have Captain Marvel, or Vers as they call her, because as we find out later, obviously, when they find her, or whatever, she has part of her dog tag, which has, split in half, and so it only has the end of her last name of Danvers, Carol Danvers, and so it's Vers, and so they call her Vers. So she's captured by the Star Force?
Yeah.
Yon-Rogg, which was, what's the guy's name?
Jude Law.
Jude Law, yeah. He captured that. Obviously, we find out with that twist later on in the movie, but again, this is spoilers. So they take him, and then she joins in with the Star Force, and she has these powers. She doesn't know how she got them. She doesn't know how she got to Hollow, which is the Kree home planet. And she's in this group, and again, she's having all these flashbacks that she has of a life on Earth, but she doesn't know anything about him and everything. And she ends up going to see the Supreme Intelligence, which I actually know who the Supreme Intelligence is because I played the Lego Marvel game and that character was in there. But for the Supreme Intelligence in the movies here, whenever you talk to him, that transfers into whatever, I don't know if it's your I don't know, like your star or something, whatever, like your, I would say like most favorite person or something like that. I don't know how to describe it. Would be is like who you see the supreme intelligence as, and obviously you converse with it or have conversations with it and everything. And so the Star Force is going on this task to take out the Skrulls. I almost said the wrong name. The Skrulls and stuff. And so they're on this planet, and Captain Mar-Vell ends up getting captured by what they say is a ambush or whatever of the Skrulls on the Star Force team. And so she gets taken away, and so they're going through her memories, the Skrulls are, and they're seeing different parts of her memories and stuff, and seeing these flashbacks that she was seeing, and they see the lady that was her version of the Supreme Intelligence, which was Dr. Lawson, I think is what her name was.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to find her and where she would be and stuff because they're searching for her for something. And Captain Marvel comes to, and they find that she invented a, what was it, like, hyperspace engine or something along those lines.
Light speed engine.
Yeah, light speed engine, so they could, speed off into space or whatever and stuff with light speed. And ends up crashing down to Earth from the Skrulls, or after fighting the Skrulls and everything, where she ends up, some of the Skrulls come with her because they crashed the ship. So they come there, so she's on Earth, and some of the Skrulls come into Earth and stuff. And so she's trying to figure out, obviously, how to contact the Star Force that she got separated from. And then the Skrulls are there wandering around too and stuff, and they're trying to, like, find each other. They come across, of course, the S.H.I.E.L.D., so they come across Agent Fury and Coulson and some of the other S.H.I.E.L.D. agent stuff. So that gets Captain Marvel connected with Nick Fury and everything, which starts their whole connection, which I really enjoyed that whole thing of those two together. So Captain Marvel ends up going off in search for trying to figure out this whole Dr. Lawson thing, because obviously she knows the Skrulls are after her, so that she finds out this whole Pegasus thing, and she's ends up seeing from her memory seeing this place called like Ponchos and stuff, and so she knows where to go. So she gets a map, finds out where this place is, and so as leading her towards this Pegasus group thing. It's kind of like Area 51 almost. And so they end up making it there. She comes across, Nick Fury ends up catching up with her, so they go into Pegasus, and they start trying to search through file stuff. They find the files on Dr. Lawson, see what she was doing, coming up with this light speed engine and everything, and that she was dead, and that there were pictures or stuff, and it brings back memories of Carol's, of like this whole crash and stuff, and the death of Dr. Lawson and everything. Well, then the group of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents come in, led by Ben Mendelsohn, which is the, supposedly villain in this, but obviously we turned out that he's an actual Skrull, which we kind of knew, because Fury ends up finding out that he doesn't say his name properly, so he knows he's not the true leader or whatever of S.H.I.E.L.D., so he knows he's a Skrull. So they come with the thing, and it just turns into this whole, like, chase scene then of Danvers, I guess we'll call her, and Fury and stuff, because all the other characters like Skrulls except for Coulson and stuff, because he's in that group as well, and so he ends up letting them go free. They get into what I would assume to be, would that be a Quinjet? I think that's what they call them.
I think it's a prototype.
Yeah, like an early version of the Quinjet stuff, and so Nick Fury and Vers ends up taking off with Goose the cat, because they find Goose in the place as well, and so they take off, and then the Skrulls are there and stuff, and so they end up finding a connection to someone. They see a thing, again I'm kind of fuzzy on all the detail stuff, but they end up finding a thing about Maria Rambo, I think was her name, which was the friend of Carol Danvers, here on Earth and stuff, and in the fighter pilot thing with her and stuff. So they end up finding her, going to her house and meeting her and her daughter. So of course they remember her, but think she's dead because she was reported to be dead in the crash and everything. And so they start bringing back memories and stuff of hers, and she starts to remember stuff. So we get that there, and while they're at her house, the Skrulls end up showing up, so Ben Mendelsohn as the Skrull and stuff ends up showing up, and so he ends up telling them the whole story and stuff, because he, kind of like gives up or whatever, says, I'm not going to fight you or anything, and so they tell the whole story. So the whole thing was that Dr. Lawson ended up creating this light speed energy, which brings our whole story kind of together, that she is actually Captain Mar-Vell. So I like that they took Captain Mar-Vell, which was the original Captain Marvel, that transferred powers over into Carol Danvers to give her the powers to become the next Captain Marvel. So I like how they had her, which was kind of like Carol Danvers in this, like, like I said, her like person she looked up to and was like real close to and everything. And so I like how they took that character but made it a female instead, and that was, like I said, the Captain Mar-Vell. So I like that they did that, and she was secretly a Kree and stuff here on Earth, trying to end up helping the Skrulls is what she did. And so then we also find out that she used the power of the Tesseract, which was a cool thing that they brought in. So that she had the power of the Tesseract that she made this engine with. And so when her ship crashes, because it gets shot down by the Star Force of Yon-Rogg and stuff at that point in time, it gets shot down, and he ends up killing Mar-Vell. So she ends up dying due to him, and then Danvers is, trying to stop him then, and so she shoots the engine, because that's what Mar-Vell was trying to do before Yon-Rogg shot her. And so she shoots the engine, it blows up, and then all this like energy and force, like you see from like the Tesseract and stuff in the past movies, comes into her, and so it like fills her up with that energy. So that's how she gets her power. So she has the power of the Tesseract inside of her, which is really cool. And again, I like how they bring in the Tesseract, and then we get to see, of course, its journey into where pretty much we see it in the Avengers movie and stuff. So we get that whole story then that the Star Force and Yon-Rogg and everything are actually bad people, and the Skrulls are actually pretty good people, and they're just trying to find a new place, but the Kree keep coming after them, trying to kill them. And so Mar-Vell was trying to do this whole engine thing to be able to give it to them so they can be able to shoot off into space outside of where the Kree would be able to find them, so they can live on a new planet and stuff and survive with their remaining race. And so they find Mar-Vell's secret like space station up in space and everything, which you find the Tesseract there, like it's in power or whatever and stuff there. So that's how they end up getting a hold of it. And so you find the Skrull's family there, so Ben Mendelsohn as the character's family up there. And then, of course, Star Force shows up and start trying to get the Tesseract back, because they want that, obviously, for the power and everything. And so they have a whole fight over it, and end up crashing back down to Earth. Some of the characters, like Yon-Rogg and stuff, crashed back down to Earth. And then the Quinjet was also with a couple Skrulls, and Maria and Nick Fury and Goose were all on that. Came back to Earth and everything, so it was a whole fight. But, of course, Captain Mar-Vell comes in and saves the day. We have the Accuser, so Ronan, that you see in Guardians of the Galaxy. He shows up with their whole group thing, which they come in and like do bombings and then go in and search for the Kree with the Star Force and stuff. So it's a whole like group thing. So Ronan shows up, shoots their bombs. Of course, Captain Mar-Vell blows them all up, and then just kind of looks at, blows up one of the ships, because there's 3 of them, and then just kind of sits there and looks at Ronan, and then so they go flying off and stuff. You have Ronan and stuff, so that's then how we see them in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. And then also want to say, because of Guardians, that we also saw, I forget the guy's name, but he was obviously at the beginning of the Guardians of the Galaxy. And
Korath?
Yeah, Korath, yeah, was in, of course, the Star Force as well, which is that guy, again, that he does the whole, like, Star-Lord Who type thing that at the beginning of the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. So we saw him as well. So we got all these connections in from other movies coming in and everything. So pretty much it ends there. We then have the Tesseract in the possession of Goose, because Goose, they're trying to, like, you gotta keep it safe. And of course, Goose is this alien monster. I forget what they called it. And the Skrulls were scared of it and everything, but it's like shoots tentacles out of its mouth and can like fight and stuff. And so it ended up taking the Tesseract and swallowing it, and then so Nick Fury has the Tesseract. And then obviously we do see at the end, as they're like together and stuff, Nick Fury is playing with the cat, because he likes Goose and stuff, so he's always like playing with it and everything, and it ends up scratching his eye, and so that's how he gets his eye missing. So he has the scratches across his eye, and then it, like, I guess damages his eye, so he can't see, so he has to get the eye patch on it. So that's kind of silly, because obviously we heard in like Avengers or whatever that I think he said something like, the last time I trusted somebody, I lost an eye. And so obviously that's, it does kind of fit, because obviously he felt like he trusted Goose and everything, but I feel it would have been better with another character and stuff doing it. So that has the Tesseract there, and then of course we see Fury typing up a thing about the Project Initiative, or forget what they called it, something about the initiative, and then he saw a picture of Carol with her spacecraft that said the Avenger on it, so he switched it to the Avenger Initiative and had Phase 1 and all that sort of stuff on it. So that's where our movie ends, and then of course we get some of the deleted scenes. We're going to go back and talk about a few things, but we then get the not deleted scenes, the in credit scenes. So there were two of them. So obviously this is part of spoilers, obviously still. So the first one leads into Avengers Infinity War. So it shows all of the remaining, or not all of them, but the remaining Avengers here on Earth. So Captain America, Black Widow, Hulk, and that was probably, and Rhodes, Agent Rhodes, or whatever his name is.
Rhodey?
What's his
War Machine.
War Machine, yeah. They got that. So yeah, War Machine. So they have the pager that Nick Fury had, and obviously it has the Captain Marvel logo, because obviously we see that formed in the movie as well, because it's the 90s, so Fury has a pager that he's using stuff, and she asks about stuff, and so she ends up fixing it up into this thing that can contact her, and she said you only use it in emergencies, because she's going back off to Kree, or T'Challa, to fight the Kree and do that whole, try and stop their whole thing and help the Skrulls find a new home planet and stuff. And so they're back, obviously, with the Avengers, and so they have this thing, and it ends up shutting off. And they're like, we need to get it turned back on. And they're like, we don't even know what's going to, like, who it's contact or anything. They're like, but, Fury was doing it, so it must be important. And then Captain Marvel shows up behind him, and so she has returned back, so that leads into Avengers and Endgame. So, of course, we have that coming up at the end of next month, so that will be fun to see the connection, that lead into there, and see the rest of that whole story. And then we got our second end credit scene, which was just Goose, and so it's showing Nick Fury's desk, and Goose jumps up on the desk, and then starts coughing like it's gonna, cough up a hairball, and ends up shooting up the Tesseract. So there is the Tesseract in Nick Fury's possession, which again we see at the beginning of Avengers and stuff, that it is in S.H.I.E.L.D.'s possession and everything, so that kind of leads into that as well. So that is it for the whole movie. Things I didn't want to go back and talk about stuff. I really liked a lot of the actors. Probably Nick Fury was probably my favorite. I enjoyed his character a lot. Brie Larson was pretty decent as Captain Marvel. I mean, didn't really see anything wrong with her, but to me, she didn't really stand out that much. Like, I felt they probably could have had a different character come in that would have maybe been a stronger version, but she was just fine to me. Of course, Goose the cat was a fun character to add in. Ben Mendelsohn, I like that he actually wasn't a villain for once. Like, at the movie started and stuff, you think he's a villain, but it turns out he's actually a good guy. To me, that's the first time I've ever seen him in a movie where he's actually been a good guy, so that was fun to see as well. And then I did like the whole part with Maria, again, if that's her name, I can't remember if that's exactly it or not, but Rambo and her daughter and stuff. Of course, they were good and friends and close to Carol Danvers before she went off into space and stuff, and so that whole connection there. And then you got to see the little girl, show her, like, she has all this stuff of her still, because she obviously was close to her, and then so you get to see their whole connection there kind of brought back together, and helps bring Carol Danvers' memories back. And then she also got to pick the new colors of the suit, because Captain Marvel is like, I don't want to wear Kree colors anymore, so she has this little panel on her arm that she communicates stuff with. And so she started messing with colors, so I was doing all these different color changes of her outfit, and they eventually chose the colors of the shirt the girl was wearing, which was a part of the whole, Air Force or whatever, kind of related to Pegasus and stuff that they were a part of. So they ended up choosing colors, which was blue, red, and yellow. So that's how it gets her color scheme and stuff. So I enjoyed that as well. I don't think there was anything else. The whole 90s thing was cool. So again, to see that, a lot of 90s music, of course, had Blockbuster, Radio Shack. We saw the first Game Boy she used to help communicate up to Yon-Rogg and stuff. I enjoyed that. It was cool getting to see Hala. You didn't see much of it, but it was cool to just see some of that playing. And I don't know if they're ever going to get, maybe Captain Marvel 2 is when she's doing that whole thing, fighting against the Kree, maybe. I don't know. And getting to see characters back. Obviously, like Agent Coulson back in the movies, of course, as a young version. Same with Nick Fury, where they did CG stuff on him to make him look young. And then you get Ronan back and stuff, and Korath and stuff. Cool to see all those characters. And again, past stuff with, like I said, the Tesseract and everything brought in together into a movie was fun, and I enjoyed that a lot. Was there anything you wanted to add, bro?
Just really thought one of the most surprising characters was Goose.
Yeah, Goose, of course. I mean, it's a cat, and of course, people love cats and everything, and it's an animal, so people are going to love it anyways, but it was just fun to see, because it was super friendly, and then it was, monster and stuff, and so the whole tentacles coming out, and of course, saves them at one point, and then I liked how the Skrulls were, scared of it and stuff. Every time it got close, they would, afraid and stuff. They, of course, didn't know why, until the tentacles finally came out of its mouth, so that was fun as well.
I do like that before we found out it had tentacles and was a monster, they named it what it was a couple of times.
Yeah.
But they put like a muzzle and cuffs on it, and Nick Fury was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! It's not Hannibal Lecter."
Yeah, because of course it looked like the mask they put on Hannibal. Yeah, it was just fun seeing the whole Goose thing. Like I said, had a lot of funny moments, and like of course it had heartfelt moments. Oh, and I forgot there was the whole Stan Lee tribute stuff. Of course, the whole opening segment where it does the Mar-Vell logo. Usually it shows all the different characters and little like scenes or whatever from the past movies, but this time it was all his Stan Lee characters stuff. And then it said, in memory of Stan Lee, and then you get his, I guess, cameo, yeah, in the movie. On the train that you see from the commercial, or the trailer and stuff. He's sitting on there saying lines, and he has the book of Mallrats, so I assume that's supposed to be...
It was the script for Mallrats.
Yeah, the script, and I assume he's reading his lines from Mallrats and stuff, which of course took place, or was done in the 90s and stuff, so it kind of fits along in there. So I enjoyed that as well. So yeah, rest in peace, Stan Lee. So I think that's going to be it. So again, that... was a very good movie, like I said, very much like Guardians. So if you like Guardians of the Galaxy, this is pretty much right up here. I actually think it was probably a little bit better, which it's hard to say because of course I love like Rocket and Groot and stuff like that, but I really think this is up there, at least for me. It was really enjoyable. I didn't think, but like the only real slow parts was with the, Rambo and her daughter and stuff, but like I said, I felt that was good parts because it helped bring Carol's memories back. But other than that, to me, it was just like constant, like something was always happening, it seemed like, throughout the movie. But that's going to be it for our review. So again, our ratings, mine was an 8 out of 10 and Bros was a 9 out of 10. So that is our ratings. Be sure to let us know your opinions down in the comments below. And of course, subscribe to our channel here if you want to see more movie reviews in the future, which our next one should be Shazam, and then Avengers Endgame is the next after that. Then of course, more movies in the future. But I want to thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you next time.